Namaste. Yesterday I was browsing and I came across a beautiful quote of Neem Karoli Baba. Baba says, मैं पागल, तू भी पागल, काम को लग जा. Meaning, I am mad, you are also mad, now get back to work. When it comes to the master, when it comes to spiritual journey, you have to keep aside all your logic and your head. All your intellectuality and intellectualism is a hurdle. And those men and women who overthink, who like to analyze each and everything, they never get to the truth. That is why the Maharaj Ji says, मैं पागल, तू पागल, काम को लग जा. So you have to come out of this overthinking. Overthinking is of the mind. When you are too much caught up in the trap of the mind, you tend to overthink. अब क्या होगा? मेरा क्या होगा? आगे क्या होगा? You see? What will happen tomorrow? How will I be after a few years? This is overthinking. Or let's take, or any subject for matter, astrology or any other subject. If you take anything, you start overthinking about it. All these great shastras, astrology is one of it. You can always understand more about astrology only when you follow your heart. If you use more of your head, all that analysis and this and that, nothing will happen. You will just entertain, that's all. That is why all those men and women who think less and feel more are the most beautiful people. I am very happy when I meet them. But majority of them is always overthinking. So then this, then that, then that. Overthinking. Finally nothing happens. They get tired and then they sleep. Or sometimes because of overthinking they are not able to sleep also. That is why Maharaj says, मैं पागल तू पागल काम को लग जा. In reality, it is always good to follow your heart and to keep aside all your head and your logic. That is why Sant Kabir says, if you want to become my disciple, then first you will have to cut your head. Cut your head means cut all your logic and intellectuality. Many a times I am very much turned off when people come and ask, why this, why that, and they analyze, but you can't say anything, so I just keep listening. But this is actually a curse, overthinking. And let me tell you, the more and more you progress on your spiritual path, you will stop thinking. Thoughts will be less, feelings will be more. If you really want to measure your spiritual progress, then just look within and ask yourself whether you are thinking too much or whether you have stopped thinking. Just observe yourself and you will find the answer. When Jesus met all the 12 disciples or apostles as they call, for every disciple, Jesus said only 2 words, follow me. And he was meeting them for the first time. And they were also of such a high caliber that they never started asking questions and doubts and analysis and nothing. Jesus said, follow me. And Peter the fisherman started following Jesus. Similarly, Jesus asked others and they started following him. And that is what the spiritual master loves. A man who simply follows without bringing his head and his intellectualism. Such a man, such a woman is the most beautiful person, and they are very, very rare to find, very rare, maybe in one in a million. So in this podcast, I am going to talk briefly on overthinking and how overthinking is actually a curse, and what are the astrological signs that signify this kind of overthinking. So now, let's begin with this interesting topic, overthinking. Overthinking is a sign that you are in the tight grip of your mind. Bhagwan Raman Maharshi says, the nature of the mind is to wander. You are not the mind. However, those who are still to embark on their spiritual journey are generally found to be much trapped and enslaved by their mind. And so the majority of human population is always overthinking. The mind drives them crazy and they continue to think and think and think, and out of this overthinking, nothing good is derived. Overthinking happens when you become a slave of your mind, and mind is represented by moon in astrology. And so moon chart, Chandra Kundali, becomes extremely significant when it comes to the unfortunate pattern of overthinking. It is said that the Chandra, that is mind, is the guru of your brain, which is ruled by Mercury. And so moon chart and the overall state of Mercury in your chart signify the horrible traits of overthinking. I always say that even if you get a simple plain looking wife, it is better than to have a beautiful wife who just goes on overthinking and in the process causes much damage to herself as well as to her husband. And the same is applicable to a husband who overthinks and spoils the mood of the moment. Now that we have identified Moon and Mercury as the most significant planets when it comes to overthinking, let me quickly highlight 7 signs that signify overthinking person. First, Moon Mercury conjunction or a Moon Mercury opposition is one significant sign of a person who overthinks. Second, Moon Mercury Rahu conjunction is the second sign of a person who overthinks. The third point is Moon Rahu conjunction. Moon Rahu conjunction is the most terrible sign of a person who overthinks. Generally, women having Moon Rahu conjunction appear very beautiful, but if you observe these women closely, you will find that they are master overthinkers. A Ketuish person will simply run away from such a woman who has Moon Rahu conjunction. But once you are caught in the clutches of a woman having Moon Rahu, it is difficult to escape. And the fourth point is Moon Sun Mercury conjunction, or even if these 3 planets are just together, then it is a worst placement and the woman or man is an overthinker and also at times offensive or abusive by nature. Moon Mars Mercury conjunction is also yet another sign of overthinking. The 6th point is Mercury Mars conjunction. Mercury Mars conjunction also signify overthinking, and it becomes worse if the native is born with moon in Virgo or Gemini. The 7th point is Mercury Rahu conjunction, and when moon is with sun, then it is a perfect sign of overthinking and it also brings depression. So basically, whenever Moon and Mercury is associated with Rahu or Mars, and in addition to this, if Moon is combust and placed in mercurial signs of Virgo or Gemini, or when moon is in Cancer, then the person generally becomes a victim of overthinking. The last point is when moon or Mercury is in the 8th house. Even then, the person is found to be an overthinker. Real beautiful men and women are those who think less and feel more. They are spontaneous. If they love someone, they will spontaneously express their feeling by saying those 3 beautiful words, I love you. During my early 20s, when I had fallen in love, I was also very spontaneous. What is there to fear? When you love, you simply love. Always remember, being spontaneous is the very first sign of a man who someday is going to fall in love with God. Because God is also spontaneous. I have never ever heard that God thinks. No, never. God never thinks. God only loves, and love is spontaneous. Very spontaneous, and that's why love is beautiful. Always remember, love is true only when it is spontaneous, unplanned, unpracticed, uncultivated, unthought. Love definitely is not for those who overthink. Once a beautiful woman came and proposed a great scholar. His name was Immanuel Kant. Kant was a great scholar, a great philosopher. And so when the woman asked, will you marry me? Kant said, I will think over your proposal and let you know soon. Now what is there to think? Either you say no or you say yes. But overthinkers always like to think and analyze so much that they lose many good opportunities. And so Kant went to the largest library of his town and he read books on marriage and love. He wanted to know if marriage is a good option. And so for 2 years he continued his research and his analysis, and after which he concluded that marriage is indeed a great option. And so after 2 years, he went to that woman's place and knocked on her door. An old man opened the door. He must be her father. He asked, who are you and what you want, sir? Kant said, my name is Immanuel Kant and I want to marry your daughter. The old man smiled and said, you are a little late, sir. She is married and now she has a beautiful daughter. This is how overthinkers miss opportunities. They are unable to connect with the higher calling. They are so much trapped in their mind that they just go on thinking until they drop dead. Bhagwan Raman Maharshi says the degree of freedom from unwanted thoughts and the degree of concentration on a single thought are the measures to gauge spiritual progress. Single thought. This single thought is the mantra. When you start reciting a specific mantra, then your degree of concentration on the mantra keeps away all other unwanted thoughts. And therefore, Guru Nanak says, Naam Japo. Therefore, Sant Kabir encourages his disciples to recite Naam, meaning recite the mantra with consistency and deep love. The great enlightened masters have provided the most significant solution to overcome depression and overthinking, and that solution is called mantra chanting. But who wants to listen? Shallow people are just looking for some quick results. They forget that even a baby takes 9 months to come out of the womb. One who is willing to be patient, one who is willing to take consistent efforts towards daily chanting,
and one who is willing to remain faithful. Only such a person can overcome overthinking. But the human world is vast, and only few can understand the message of the Master. The rest will simply continue with their overthinking, and the next life they take birth as some animal or reptile. Because overthinking means they have never taken any efforts towards their spiritual growth, towards their self growth. And one who ignores self growth often takes the next birth as some animal or a reptile. To all my close followers, I appeal, start chanting every day. Chant the mantra of your choice. Krishna mantra, Vishnu mantra, Ganesha mantra, Gayatri mantra. Choose a mantra of your choice and chant so deeply that all your thoughts remain at bay and you remain untouched by any other thoughts than the thought of the Almighty, the Guru, the beloved Master. Love to all my close followers. My sharing is for a selective class of people who can understand the language I speak. And let me tell you, there is no other language as beautiful as the language of silence. And so now I again go back in my silence. You also return to your silence. Silence that is not just on the outside, but also within you. Deep silence, no thoughts, just observe and chant. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Jai Sri Ganesha, Jai Guru. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.